What's going on, everybody? This is Stephen Morris here from An Honest Look Podcast. I'm actually here sitting with Meg Garcia from Neat Method Columbia, good friend of mine. We're going to have a truly phenomenal time today. She's probably one of the most liveliest people I know, very good friend of mine. And we're going to take an honest look at the clutter conundrum that is plaguing so many of us. When I talked with Meg about 2 weeks ago, I was asking her, I said, Meg, if I could come to your house right now, would you let me come? And her first response was what?
No.
Why? She said no. And then I thought about it. I said, most people, if you were to ask them if you could come to their house, they would probably say the same thing. Because 30, 40 years ago, I remember as a kid, my mom would just let people come to our house unannounced. They would bring cookies and things over and things like that. And it was kind of amazing to me that, the house would be in a sham, but she still would let people come over. Today, that's not necessarily the case. If I asked you to come to your house right now, what would you say?
Why?
Why would you give me that sense of hesitation first? Why can't I just come over?
Because it might be messy.
Oh, okay, got it. Do you think most Americans, if I just ask them as a random person, can I come over, would they say the same thing?
Yes.
Do you feel like people need to prepare to make sure they receive you? So why don't people just have their house already together?
Because life happens.
Okay.
Kids, dogs, pets, things are all cluttered.
Got it. So basically what you're telling me is we got to prepare to have guests over because we don't want them to see how we're really living.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, got it. Family members, can they just pop by as well or no?
Depends.
Okay. Depends on what?
Depends if I like you.
Okay. If I asked you to come to your house right now, what's your first response?
Come on over.
You wouldn't have a problem with that?
No.
Okay. If I asked that question to anyone or a random stranger to go over their house, what do you think most people would say? Would they have hesitation? Or would
yes, absolutely.
Why would they have hesitation?
Because everybody wants to make sure their house is clean.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So do you think that people put up a front when it comes to coming over the house?
I don't like surprises. So
okay.
Yes, because I know you, because I know most of the people around us. I'd be like, okay, cool.
Notice how she said she knows me.
Yes. Yeah. You can come on over and, bring your swimsuit. We'll all hang out at the pool or whatever. But it would be like, okay, these are the areas we're going in.
Right. Right. You can't go in this area.
You can't go in this area.
Got it.
Because there's like most people are private and guarded.
Now let's say let's flip it to family. Let's say family action. Hey, I'm coming by Selena, I'm gonna pop by. Do you tidy up first, or are you just like, hey, they know
I tell them
me?
I'm not available.
Do you think that most of us need to declutter our lives?
Absolutely.
Okay, we have too much stuff going on in our lives. Okay.
Yes. Time-wise, stuff-wise, everything. There's too much going on everywhere.
Okay.
It used to be the old saying that you're, stealing from Peter to pay Paul,
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
But we do that, people, yes, I'm sure do that with money still, but we do that with our time now. Like we're moving this to move this, all that.
Got it. If I asked you right now, could I come to your house, what would you say?
I'd say yeah, because I know you. I mean, if I didn't know you.
Right, if you didn't know me, if I was a random stranger, or even if I was like a light acquaintance, and I said, hey, Brett, I want to come to your house right now, what would you do?
Why do you need to come to my house?
I want to hang out with you.
Okay, we can go hang out at a restaurant or a bar.
But why not the house? Why not the house?
Because that's my safe space.
Okay, that's your safe zone.
I got my family there.
Now, most husbands, they'll say, hey, let me call my wife first, and let me set everything up. Could it be that the reason why you don't want me to come to your house, let's say it's me, let's say it's Stephen Morris,
right? And
I say, hey, I want to come to your house. Would you have to prep and tidy up first, or would you just say, hey, come on through and see how we live?
I don't care. I mean, I
You're a normal husband.
I say, come on, man. My wife would be upset probably because she always thinks our house is dirty, and it's not, because, I mean, there's not crumbs and trash. Right. We have, but some in their stuff. Mind, oh yeah, it's always dirty in their mind.
Okay, got it. Are we a population of people that are just over cluttered with stuff?
100%. It's a lot to do with that. We have a lot of people moving from out of town into town, and they put it in a storage unit until they figure out what they want to do with it. And then we also have a lot of people that are very sentimental, that hold on to their parents' stuff and things that have been passed down from generations that they don't actually want in their house, but they don't want to get rid of it. They're scared to let go. So
Got it. All right, well, that was my question, man, about decluttering. Here's my last question for you. Does a cluttered life lead to a cluttered business life? Like, do you think that people that have clutter and a lot of stuff in their home are the same people that don't answer their emails in their inbox?
No,
Okay.
I do not. I think
Neither one reflects the other.
no, I think the more cluttered you are, sometimes the more your brain can operate and
Really?
quicker operation.
I think like that too, but,
Yeah,
the experts tell us decluttering is free.
To each his own.
Yeah, well, if I'm inviting you over, I feel like things need to be tidy and clean. And even though I try to live that way, we all,
That's right.
we got to tidy up at any particular time. But, yeah, I feel like I would need a little heads up.
Okay,
but we
got
could
it.
work it out.
Got it. You're like most women. Now, the funny thing is we interviewed the guys, and the guys are like, just come on over.
Come on in, yeah.
I'm the type of guy that if I invite you to my house, I have to call my wife.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, if I don't call my wife, I'll probably be divorced.
Right.
What does a cluttered life say about someone? Like if your life is really cluttered, what do you think it says?
Yes, I think it's that you're really, really busy. Maybe you have something going on that is not really expected. Maybe you're helping elderly parents or, a life event that you didn't expect.
Okay.
Or it could also be that maybe you just need to get a little more organized with your life.
I like that.
Right? I like that too.
Okay.
And I think, preparing in advance will help you be less cluttered.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thanks,
You're
Roberta.
welcome.
You got it. If I wanted to come to your house right now, would you let me come?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay. What most people would say no, because they feel like they got to tidy up first. Why would you let me come through?
Well, I think that I might tidy as we walk through the door. A little tiny bit.
Okay.
But for the most part, I keep my house clutter free and tidy because
I like that.
people always come over unannounced.
I like that. So you are a social host. You host
Yes,
a lot.
always.
So you're always ready.
Every day, all day.
Why do you think most Americans have to feel like they have to get ready? Why is it that men have a different thought process than women?
Because men don't clean typically. I think it's the women that clean and tidy the house.
Okay.
So the men want to make sure that perhaps they're not getting in trouble with their wives if they're bringing somebody over unannounced, and then an untidy house is a reflection on her more than him, I would say.
I like that. Okay,
That's
I
what I
didn't
would
think that.
say.
What are your thoughts on storage units? Because what is that? To me, it's saying that not only do we have so much stuff in our home, that we have to rent places to put more stuff. Are we over cluttered as a society?
100%.
Okay.
I think we have way too much. We store it. We're afraid to get rid of it. We're afraid to move on from the past. I think that a lot of people keep things from their parents and they keep things from their children.
Keepsakes.
Everything.
Right.
You know what I do?
And half these,
throw it all away.
Are you one of those people that have 9,000 unread emails, or you clean them out?
Mine has 2 in my Outlook right now and maybe 5 on my Gmail.
That says a lot about you.
And I delete them as I need. I mean, I delete everything.
I got it.
And then, maybe every 5 years, I delete the whole entire thing. I don't even care what it was. I love to get rid of it all.
like you.
If I haven't needed it in 5 years,
Right, and I don't need it.
electronically even, I don't need it.
So you decluttering is freeing for you.
Yes. Yes.
Sheena, you have been my best interviewee thus far. Thank you so much. We're still going. 3, 2, 1. Hey, ma'am, how are you? What's your name?
My name's Melanie.
Hey, Melanie. Pleasure meeting you.
Nice
I got a
meeting you.
question for you.
Sure.
We know each other a little bit, but if I wanted to come to your house right now, what would you say?
Let me have an hour head start.
Okay, why? Why an hour head start?
I have 3 teenage boys and it's a hot mess.
Okay, got it. So most women would say that because they're like, hey, you just can't come to my house. Now, a lot of the men that I talk to, they would say, let me call my wife.
You're right. People have appearances to keep. That's kind
right.
of a tough one. You're right. You
Yeah.
don't want people to see your cobwebs in your closet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like we watch shows like Hoarders and what have you. Like, ooh, okay. Not saying that people are hoarders, but my wife, I'll give you an example. My wife will have a cleaning lady come by, clean up the house, and then still say, let me know if you're going to bring people by because I want to touch it up.
Oh, wow.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, see, if the cleaning lady comes in, we're good to go.
That's what I'm talking about. See, at least we got that part right.
Yeah.
Are you a cluttered person or you kind of free yourself?
I am not a clutter person.
Okay.
I love that big dumpster in my yard, and I'm just like, shoot.
Love it. Is your hubby a cluttered guy?
He fights against it, but it's in his DNA.
Okay, got it.
We
got
might
it.
need it one day, you know?
So how do we get to that place where we don't have so much stuff?
You travel more, and then you start to realize you don't need stuff.
Love. I love it.
I mean, that's when I started that. I was like, I don't need all this stuff.
Got
I just
it.
want to go places.
So, and you know why that probably helped you as a travel agent? Because you pack so much in a couple of bags anyway, so you're able to learn to live that way.
Yep. Yep.
You might be onto something. Travel more with Melanie and Cruise Planners, and we'll make that happen. Thanks, Mel. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
This was fun.
Thank
So she will not let me come to her house. I got to give her a heads up.
But I'll take him on a trip.
If I wanted to come to your house right now, would you let me come?
Like
Like right now.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Like-
Right now. We know a little bit about each other, right?
Yeah.
Can I come? All right, really?
Yeah.
Why'd you hesitate?
Just making sure I understood, not picking a
No,
random
I'm
person off
not
the
saying
street.
you're not picking up a homeless man or a stranger, but somebody that you know casually.
Yeah.
And he says, "Hey, I want to come to your house right now."
Yeah.
What's the first feeling that you felt when I asked you that?
I just instantly think of the kitchen sink is empty.
Okay.
Like, it's good time. Like,
Okay, got it. So you think, okay, how does the house look
Yeah.
before we bring a stranger?
Yeah.
Why do most people think, okay, I got to make sure the house is a certain way before a random person comes over? What is that saying?
Just, it's like a first impression.
Okay.
Your home is an extension of yourself.
Correct.
So, you can look all put together outside, but then there's always somebody's got a junk drawer, somebody's got, whatever.
Got you.
I'm not that way,
Okay.
but I understand other people are.
All right. Are you a cluttered person?
No.
Okay. When I say cluttered, that kind of triggered something. What is cluttered to you? What's too much?
Too much. Like, I literally purge probably quarterly.
Really?
Like,
and when you
everything.
say purge what?
Everything. Anything and everything.
How does that make you feel when you get rid of all that stuff?
I love it.
Okay.
Like,
Got it.
I just feel like, yeah. But if I go to someone's house and there's a lot of stuff, it gives me anxiety. And I go home and I
my
purge.
wife is like that.
Like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't get to that point. So,
I appreciate it, Jessica. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
thank
So we're going to talk about the clutter conundrum of the people we know, as well as the country and overall. That's why shows like Nightmare Kitchen and Hoarders, they become super popular. But Meg, you let me know Hoarders is more about a mental condition that kind of results from that. But before we get into that, let's talk about you. Meg, tell me a little bit about yourself. I know you are the owner of Neat Method Columbia.
Yes.
How did you get into that? You are classified as what they would say is a professional organizer, correct?
That's right.
Okay, talk to me about that.
Right. So I have been in the Columbia area for just under 12 years now, originally from Atlanta. I was in the voluntary benefit space before.
Okay.
But I have always loved organizing.
Okay.
I'm the friend that shows up to your house and I'm like peeking in the closet or opening the fridge and like checking your food. And
Are you the person that goes through people's medicine cabinet when you go to the bathroom? You really do that? Okay.
either you
picked the right profession.
you are like eager for me to come over because I'm going to like help you throughout
Okay.
my stay, or you don't want me to come visit at all because you're like, Meg's going to find this, or like be really annoyed with that.
Okay.
But I would say most of my friends are welcoming and
Exactly.
excited that I'm coming to visit
They
them.
know who you are. They're like, hey,
Right.
Meg's going to come over. No matter what I do, she's going to probably fix it.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. But I've just always enjoyed organizing
Okay.
as a hobby. Like, I love color coding things. I truly believe that there's a significant impact to how you feel in your home based on its condition.
Okay,
and so
gotcha.
that's really the driving why and force behind like what we do and why we do it.
Okay.
And I just had I was in the corporate world. I had reached a point in my career where I was just ready to transition. My family's full of entrepreneurs, and I knew I wanted to own my own business.
Okay.
And this opportunity came about. And so now we've been in business for 3 years. We help clients declutter. We help them with their moves.
Mm-hmm.
And we help them live a more simple and organized life.
Okay,
I
got
love it.
Now, you're from Atlanta originally, right?
Originally from Atlanta.
Okay,
yes.
got it. How'd you end up in South Carolina?
I was relocated for work. So
Okay.
the company I was working for acquired another insurance carrier here in town. And I was in Columbus, Georgia at the time, actually. And I didn't have any ties to the city.
Okay.
At that point, didn't have any kids or anything. And so I volunteered to move to Columbia, came up for a site visit, and agreed to move. And then 3 weeks later, I was expected to be on site. So,
Okay.
And I
Wow.
made the transition, loved the city, love how close it is to other metro cities, still drivable distance to home. And so here I am.
Okay. How'd you find Neat Method?
Instagram.
Get out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instagram. So I'm a big social media gal.
Okay.
And it's addicting seeing before and afters and different tips and
Right.
reels. It's addicting. And,
Right.
I think we're all always looking for ways that we can improve our lives, our homes. And I was just self-applying some of the things I had seen, and we're a franchise.
Okay.
And one day they posted that they were looking to expand the franchise operation into the Southeast. And I said, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna apply. And
Okay.
let's just see what happens. And just took a leap of faith. And without a doubt, it was the right move for me professionally.
Got it. And you got an awesome team. I've met them. Great
the
girls.
Best. Yes.
Great. Here's my first question for you.
Okay.
So you guys, you know that this is a podcast about an honest look. We go out and we talk to the public. If I go out and talk to members of the public and I say to them, can I come over your house today? What would most people say in your opinion?
They're going to say no.
Why?
Or they're going to say when. And then they're going to want to know how much time they have to prepare.
Okay.
I think gone are the days that people just pop in or
Right.
pop by. Even if you're bringing food, just leave it on the porch.
Right.
Like, I mean, we don't even meet the DoorDash guy or gal.
That's right. That's true.
Right? Like we say, leave on steps.
Right.
Leave at the door. And it's different. I think that, we want to protect what we have.
Right.
And if you have a home that's filled with clutter, or maybe it's not, maybe it's just not in the condition that you want it to be for visitors.
Right.
We get protective.
Okay.
And if we expose, some of it's vulnerability too. If we expose a certain aspect of our life, i.e. our house,
Okay.
are they going to talk about us?
Right, are they gonna judge us?
Are they going to leave and, go tell your circle of friends, hey, I stopped by Meg's house today. And, especially for me, I do this for a living.
Correct.
And did you see all the toys Quinn had everywhere? Like, why aren't those toys put away? And, I couldn't even make it through the living room. All kinds of things could come
But
up.
I think that's different when you have kids, though. Like if you expect
It
to
is,
see
but
it.
it isn't.
Okay, good.
And I hear that a lot too, right?
Okay.
Many of my friends prepped me when they found out I was expecting because they know how I am.
Right.
And I am the person that.
Have you always been like that though? Have you always been like super?
No.
Do you
when I was
Okay.
growing up, I was not a clean house person. This is funny.
Okay, go for it.
Well, we had a clean home. It was
Okay.
just my dad and I. So I did the cooking and the cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And but I hated dishes, and my room was always a mess. Like the house was clean
But your room.
and tidy, but my living space was kind of messy.
Right.
And if my dad would actually, if I did not clean up the kitchen timely after dinner, eventually he got to the point he would bring the dishes, the dirty dishes, because I didn't put them in the dishwasher,
Okay.
and he would put them in my bed.
No, he did not.
He did. He didn't
Wow.
play. Nope, he didn't play. He
Was
didn't
your
care.
dad military?
No, just
He didn't. He just was. Was he regimented and stern and with make sure the house presented itself well?
it was important.
Okay.
But he wanted to teach me
Got
a
it.
lesson. It
Your
was,
only child?
I'm his only child.
Okay, got it.
And he raised me.
Okay.
But it was to the point of, basically, Meg, I've had this conversation with you. You're not following expectations.
Okay.
Here's a very, passive aggressive
Oh yeah. Here's some Cheerios in your bed.
Like you're not going to crawl into bed with the dirty dishes. So
Right.
no. And then in college, when you move out and live on your own,
Yes.
you're like, oh, this is kind of important. I had several roommates in the house, and we just figured out that the house was just a much calmer place if we all pulled our part. And I
Right.
think that's really where it started.
I think college is where you really learn about, number one, cohabitating with other people and how other people live.
and
I
the
think it starts
impact how
there.
they're living, the impact that has on how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
But you're having to share a house. And so I think that's more so when I became a little bit more OCD.
Okay. So you classify yourself as OCD?
I'm not extreme,
Okay.
but I do like structure in a home.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the bed made. I do like the kitchen cleaned up every night. I like
Right.
things to have a place. I like to have a system.
Right.
And I believe that when you have those things in place, even when things start to get messy, it's a much easier process to get it right back to the way it should be.
Okay, got it. Okay, I like that. So that gives me an idea as to, number one, this fits your personality, the business that you're in. But it also speaks to where we are as a society where most people are guarding that. I love how you use the word vulnerability because people don't want, in your home, that's your home. That's the place where you should feel safest. But if you look at the status of where we are overall, not everybody lives according to the same standards. So with that being the case, my first question to you is, how would you describe the current state of clutter and excess in our lives today? Are we a very materialistic consumerism?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we are. Okay, got it. Walk me through that.
We have so much stuff.
Okay.
I would say 95% plus of the homes I walk in are filled with stuff.
With just junk. Is it junk or just like?
No, it's not necessarily junk. Excess to me is the best word.
Okay.
Duplicates of items.
Right.
You know, over purchasing really is the root. And I think a lot of that is, it's so easy to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, click a button, go to Amazon.
That's right. Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, even with groceries, you can still get delivery, but it's so easy to buy. We have Shop Runner. You can get things fast.
Right.
So even if you're not at the store filling the cart with like impulse purchases, you can still get pretty much whatever you want, whether you need it or not.
Okay.
We have a lot of clients too where someone in the family is also a collector of goods.
Okay.
And when they want to donate, they drop it off at
Goodwill or something.
No, they drop it off at the family member's house.
Oh.
So a lot of times I'll have
got it.
clients
So
and I'll say, where did this collection of items come from?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my mom drops off stuff every week. And so that can often be a point of tension too. Like maybe the resident of the household doesn't want all the stuff, but a family member's constantly bringing. And
really?
It's a lot of times new items. Oh, especially the whole like grandparent-grandchild relationship.
Right, I
if
can
you're
see
a parent
that.
trying to put a cap on like the number of toys, but the grandparent's constantly showing up.
Right.
That's adding clutter to the house. And I see that a ton, but I think it's, consumers don't always, if they don't have a well-organized home, you don't know what you have.
Right.
And that's the link. When you don't know what you have, you don't know what you truly need, and then you overpurchase.
So, okay, I agree with you because there are times, and my wife, let me give a shout out to Candace Morris real quick. My wife you and her get along very well because she is an extreme minimalist. She if we don't need it, she's going to throw it out. And I'm the guy that I'll buy it forgetting I already bought it.
Yep.
Is that common?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So how do we get to a place where we kind of declutter our lives? Because the next question I want to ask you is, what does having a cluttered life kind of say to others and even to you as a professional organizer? When you see a cluttered house, what does that usually say to you about the person?
Yeah. I mean, the first question I always ask is like, how long has it been like this?
Okay.
And like, were there certain triggers that got you here? There could have been a life event that happened.
Okay.
That's actually really common. And if that hasn't been addressed or dealt with, then there's a mental health component related to this. So it's important to understand like how they arrived at this situation.
Okay.
So I dig into that.
So what kind of questions do you ask? Like
you ask. It depends on what I see.
Like, okay.
Depends on what I see.
I'm gonna give you a scenario. All right, let's say.
Why am I here? I start with, why did you bring me here?
That's your first question.
Well, past the, my name's Meg. This is what we do. Tell me a little bit. But when we get face to face, I need to understand truly, are we going to be able to help?
Right.
And if we aren't, then I'm not going to waste that client's funds.
Okay.
So there's something else involved in their life that maybe needs to come first. I feel like that's a fair question to ask.
So your first question is, why am I here? And a lot of times you hear what?
And what are the goals? I would say the most common answer is,
we got too much stuff.
We have too much. Yeah, we have too much stuff. We don't have enough storage. I can't get myself organized because I don't have time.
Okay.
But if you come in and clean me up and get me organized, I feel like I can maintain it from there. Okay. So we're essentially a jump start to better, right? To better. And yes, we have clients where we do refreshes, but that is the goal. The goal is not to come to your house every week And we are not a residential cleaning service
No,
where we're
no, I
going to
got
come
that.
in like, we don't do that. I mean,
Right.
the goal truly is to get you to a place where it's not chaotic. Your home is peaceful, at least the space that we're working in is to a place that you want it to be, and that you can maintain it yourself along with the help of your family.
Okay.
Like, that's how we all deserve that.
Do you think that a lot of people have struggles with, I don't want to say maintaining it, because I'm going to be honest with you. We live in South Carolina, and I think we had just talked about this before we started recording. One of the biggest businesses that are booming right now are storage facilities. They're huge right now. And so what that says to me is not only do I not have enough stuff in my dwelling place, I'm going to pay a monthly fee to put more stuff in somewhere else. Most of the time, temperature controlled. And so with that being the case, are we just to a point where materialism, where we just have to have these things? Do most people have to have this stuff, or is it just they want it and they just don't know how to stop? Because just because you come in and help them with the decluttering, I still think that if you help remedy a situation for a little while, they're probably going to go back to buying more stuff later. You think I'm right or wrong?
It's a lifestyle change.
Okay.
So I talk a lot with clients about the difference of organizing being a project versus a practice.
Okay.
And we have a tagline at NEAT called The Neat Life, or The Neat Way of Life. It's not a one-time event, but it's also a behavioral change.
Okay.
You're changing the way that you're living and managing your home, buying, not buying. That is a major paradigm shift and a major behavioral change.
Right.
It's like anything else. Oh, I'm going to run a 5K by the end of next month. Well, we have to create daily habits that enable us to actually get there, just like any goal. And so we can jumpstart that, but if they don't actually make that a way of how they're living,
Right.
then it's truly never going to change. So the mindset to me is important, and that's why I kind of go back to the first point of, if there's something preventing the mindset from being there, like if you need to deal with trauma, or there's something else that needs to be processed first, then by all means, go ahead and do that. Because if not, if you don't tackle the reason why you're doing the purchasing, it's just a cycle that's going to repeat itself.
Right. Well, we hear that all the time, though. People say, oh, it's retail therapy, and they just go buy just to buy. But I mean, I know of people I was telling you earlier about a friend of mine that I have, that she will go to the store and buy 5 sets of the same jean. And, you go into her bedroom and it's just brand new clothes in a guest room, never been used, never been worn. And other people come and they just kind of, go shopping. They go shopping in her house. But my thing, I just can't get that philosophy behind that. So with that being the case, decluttering, what are some of the downfalls of that? Because I would think that, if your house is cluttered, there's other areas of your life that are probably cluttered as well. Do you see that as a professional organizer?
Yeah, and I think that, inboxes are full. There's pictures and apps all over the place, but I think the biggest area is the mind.
Right.
When our environment is cluttered,
got it.
Whether that's your desk, your home, your inbox, your computer, the files on your computer, there's no focus. There's no clarity.
Right.
And focus. The brain likes order. I mean,
some
people say they don't like order, but the brain likes order.
Okay.
And when there's a fog,
my wife is really loving what you're saying right now. I don't even have to look in the camera. Go ahead, Meg. Candace, I see you putting the clapping emojis. Keep going.
When there's fog,
yes,
which the clutter is the fog over our life, you can't focus. And that's also why, clients that start to purge or edit or declutter, I mean, it's energizing.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. And there's momentum that can be built once we get you started.
Okay.
It's always, I have a friend from high school that has a tagline, please just start. And it's totally unrelated to organizing.
Right.
It's about living a healthy lifestyle. Please just start. But it always sits with me. If you get started, you will build momentum. It is energizing. It's refreshing.
Okay.
It's, when you see the stuff leave and you see the difference, it's like, wow.
I sighed because
I physically see this. People will tear, like people will cry.
Really?
When we're done. Yes, because you're talking about people that just could not cry. This is one of those things where it's easier said than done.
Right.
And you're talking about somebody that just needs to get from I know there's an issue to I just don't even know how to get to the first step.
Right.
And you get there, and then you get them six steps down the road.
Right.
I.e. a completed space, and it's life-changing.
Really?
It is.
I got to get there then,
It
girl.
is life-changing.
Because I am an emotional person. I connect my emotions and my nostalgia to things. And that's hard for me to like get rid of things. And like I said, I told you earlier, I'll even tell the guests, there was one point in my life when I was homeless. And so for me, the stuff that I feel is important, I hold, even if I have to hold it in a box to the side, as long as I know I have it, I'm good with that. So that purging part, I would think that, yeah, it could be energizing with the side portion, but it also could be emotional because depending on how hard their emotionals are tied to that stuff, that can be kind of hard. And
you're talking about people with feelings of anxiety.
Right.
Guilt.
Okay.
How did I get this? How did I get to this space?
Right.
Or to this condition. Shame. And this is deep.
Right.
It's heavy.
Right.
And so it is a very emotional. Yes, we have the clients that are like, I saw this awesome pantry on Instagram, like style my pantry. Love them.
Right. I'll do it.
Love those jobs. We are going to make your space so post-worthy, you put it out to anyone you want.
Right.
But there's also the clients where, like, you are changing their lives. I visited with a woman last week.
Okay.
Before I left town. I went to visit her. Her goal is to declutter her home to the point that she can list it for sale because she and her husband have decided they absolutely want to move by summertime.
Okay.
I could tell she was very uneasy on the phone with me. Very uneasy. She was nervous about me coming over. I have to come over. I get there. I can tell just physically she is terrified that I'm there. She kept me in the entryway for like 5 minutes.
So she's terrified you there, but she called you.
She called me.
Okay.
And I'm kind of looking around. I'm always like getting my grounds, checking things out. And usually a typical interaction is, hi, I'm glad you're here. Let's go for a tour. We have to walk the space. We didn't move for like 5 minutes. And I just kept like trying to reassure her that everything was going to be fine. She wanted to go make coffee.
Okay.
Cool. We don't typically sit down and have coffee.
But
I knew she needed that to take the edge off.
Right.
Then she had to medicate herself.
Oh, my goodness.
She had to take like another dose of something. I did not ask what, but she told me. She said, I need to calm down. I said, please take your time. Like, I will be here as long as you need me. And she said, I've not had one family member come to my home in 4 years. She said, I have not even let my mom in my house in 4 years. And I said, okay.
And she's not a hoarder.
No.
No. Okay.
The spaces that we visited together.
Right.
Definitely clutter, definitely.
But not hoarder.
No.
Okay.
You're not talking, top to bottom, no unsafe conditions.
Right.
Nothing
no
like
hazards.
That. Nope, no hazards. But what I saw in that woman was she was scared.
Okay.
And she was ashamed.
Wow.
She was ashamed of her house. Mm-hmm. And she said, you literally are the first person that has been in my house in years.
Besides her husband.
Mm-hmm. And I have to take pictures. And I said, I need to take pictures as part of the consultation. They don't go anywhere. She was totally fine with me capturing the photos.
Okay.
By the end of the visit, she was happy. I physically felt
the stress come off. Wow.
Off of her. And we see that a lot. I would say 9 out of 10 times when I visit with a client or a potential client, they always have a one-liner before we go into the room that we're going to look at.
Right.
And it's, this is so bad. Please don't tell anyone.
Okay.
And then they open the door. And I say the same thing every time. Every client before you has said the same thing.
Right.
Your space is never.
So it's common.
It's common, but that's the guard.
Right.
That's the shameful guard, and I have let this complete stranger, Meg, into my house, and I have to drop the wall.
Right.
And I have to expose my life to her.
Okay.
And that's tough.
Right.
I mean, that's tough, but I always remind them, you called me.
Right.
I didn't hunt you down and say, "Whoo, Susie, why don't you let me come over?" I saw you on Facebook, or
girl, I looked at that back picture.
Yeah,
my wife does that. She'll look at do you do
look
that?
At the background?
Yes. Girl, that's not good.
Especially on Zoom meetings.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I don't say anything, but I'm like,
My wife she'll like, let's say she'll look online, right, on Facebook, and there'll be a girl like putting pictures of her hair. My wife, I'm calling you out. My wife will look at the background. She's like, "Ooh, look at that stain on the mirror in the back of that picture." I'm like, the girl is trying to show you her new hairdo. Wow. So that is amazing how you have an eye for all the little details. And
this job is so detail oriented.
Wow.
And as a brand, we pride ourselves in being, we don't miss a beat.
Right.
You have to be detailed. You will not be successful in this profession.
Okay.
If you don't have a keen eye for detail.
Wow. Is your husband like me?
Chill and cool. And
no, not chill and cool.
And,
like, is he the opposite? Like how Candace and you are like?
Oh.
Are me and, like, yes. Is he cluttered?
No.
He's not?
He's well, he knows what's going to happen. Like, so he is not high strung.
Okay.
His demeanor is chill.
Okay,
and
good.
Calm. He is more accepting of there being breaks between the periods of time of the home being perfect. We'll put it that way. But we both live in the house, okay. Right? So this is when clutter starts to impact your relationship.
Okay.
But this is a great example. I just got back in town.
That's right. You were at a bachelor party.
I have been
bachelorette
at a
party.
bachelorette party. Yes.
How's your house going to be when you go?
3 days. I always ask, like, when I'm hours away of returning.
Okay.
How is everything this weekend? But give him some grace, right? He's there by himself. We have
with
2 dogs with an 18-month-old.
Right.
Like, just his number one goal in life, Quinn, is to destroy my home.
Okay.
Like, it's just a cycle all day. Pick up, put away. Take it out, put it away. I mean, anybody with small kids knows the drill.
That's right.
My husband also works full time, so he's trying to work.
Correct.
And we didn't have a nanny come over, so you want to be.
So you're prepping yourself.
I thought I was going to come home to a natural disaster. And because on my layover, I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I'm vacuuming, and I think I'm about to mop."
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's not like the first time you've mopped in a year.
Hey,
and
you know what? Matt and I are like, because when Candace lost her dad back in March, and she was away for like 3 weeks, and I was so afraid of how the house looked. I was mopping. My mother-in-law walked over and saw me mopping, and she called my wife, and she said, "You trained him good." I was like, what do you mean you trained me? But Matt, shout out to you, Matt.
Yes.
Shout out to
and
you,
this was at 10 p.m.
Matt.
This was 10 o'clock last night. And I said, "Matt, it's 10. Like, go to bed."
He didn't want you to be disappointed.
He wanted to warn me. And because he knows, like, if I had come home and he had not put a disclaimer out there, I would have been like, okay. And I would have stayed up.
And cleaned.
I would have stayed. I would have stayed up.
And you would have been super tired for this episode today.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, by the way. That means a lot to me that you would come from a bachelorette party, time zone differences, come back and be on our show. That's amazing. Oh, man. So, man, you taught me a lot. Can you share some strategies for maintaining a clutter-free environment? What are some of the things that we can do on our own to kind of help, other than, not buy so much? What are some other things that we need to look for? Like, I've heard the saying that if you haven't worn a clothing item in 6 months, you need to throw it away. That's true?
Yeah.
So no favorite shirt when the Yankees won in 1980, whatever, you throw that away?
Put yourself on a routine.
Okay.
So put a reminder on your phone, close, and find areas of the home that you're comfortable with. Like, you don't have to eat the elephant. It's baby steps.
Okay.
So put reminders, build it into your schedule. That's where it goes back to this premise of you don't have to block a whole day to get organized.
Okay.
If we're doing this as a way of life, we're doing it every day. So just like you're going to load the dishwasher, just like you're going to vacuum, however often you're doing those things around the house, to build that in to whatever routine you already have in your home.
Okay.
With clothes, I always recommend after the season.
What do you mean?
Right after the season ends.
Okay.
So now is the time for you to declutter and to edit out your wardrobe from fall and winter.
Okay.
It's fresh in the mind.
Right.
You would know, did I wear that blue sweater or that blue quarter zip or this pair of pants or this pair of winter boots? When the calendar cycles and we get back around, I don't know.
Right.
And if you don't know, you're like, well, let me just save it because
right. That's me.
I don't know. So let me just check it again. Another great tip with clothes is I always have clients put the clothes with the hook. The hook should be a question mark on the rod.
Okay.
Put it in backwards.
Okay.
Face the hook the wrong way. Give it a period of time. Put the reminder on the calendar. Go back and visually look on your rod.
Okay.
All of the clothes that are still hanging incorrectly backwards on your rod, you didn't touch them. Get them out. And if you can't get them out, partner with your spouse or a family member or a friend.
My wife's going to throw it out.
And tell them these are the rules. So establish the rules. I have clients that declutter every 6 months. I have clients that do it monthly. So it has to be a routine that works for you and your family.
Okay.
This everyday thing, that's unrealistic.
Right.
No one is going to do that. We live busy lives. We're more busy than we have ever been. So I would say, do a reflection. Decide what's going to work for you and what will be okay with you. Because what works for me, routine-wise, may not work perfectly for you. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be that way. But if you feel good in your house and you have Candace,
okay, my wife is like you. Like, I mean, honestly, at the end, I'm like, you see, my head is down talking about this because she's no joke, and she wants the house to be a certain way, and then our house can be perceived. Like, prime example, we have a cleaning lady. My wife cleans before the cleaning lady gets there.
I used to do that.
Why though? Like, I'm paying for the cleaning lady. What's that? Like, I don't get that.
I don't know that I have a legit answer. It's just.
But she's not the only one that does that.
No.
Okay, but she cares. But I will be honest. That's the reason why I married her.
Yeah.
That's plus she's fine. But when we were dating, whenever I went to her house was always pristine. And as a man, I will say this, most men, you guys can write in the comments, when you're looking for a wife, you're looking for a good homemaker. Right. You are looking for a girl. Right. I don't care what you say. You're not gonna marry the hot girl that is messy. Like that, if she's got a messy apartment when you're dating, that does not change when you get married.
Right.
So,
totally agree.
I'm going to say that one more time. If she is messy when you are dating, she will be messy when she becomes your missus. I promise you that. So that was...
Yes. Dating advice.
So that was one of the things that I loved about my wife. But like I said, as her husband now, and I'm still not there, it's like I always wonder when that phrase, does opposites attract, is that the case in all? So that's why I asked you about Matt.
Yeah.
Because,
but give yourself grace, too.
Yeah, Candace. Yeah.
There is no perfect home.
Okay.
I have clients that I think that their house looks like the most immaculate home I have ever seen.
And they
have someone come over almost daily.
Really? Wow.
To just straighten up, to help with laundry. And even those homes, I mean, you can avoid even if it's a tiny bit of mess.
Right.
You can avoid that forever.
Okay.
Under all circumstances. So it just really goes back to what's going to work for your family.
Okay.
What's going to work for you so that your headspace feels good.
Okay.
Based on what you want your house to look like.
Got it.
And it's not equal for everyone.
So I love how you said that. You said that there's no such thing as the perfect home. And
100% of the time.
100% of the time. And honestly, nobody can ever really come to your house unannounced. Number one, because is there a difference between the way our house is normally and then visitor presentable? Do you think that that's a thing or no?
I do. I think that's absolutely a thing. It's the same thing with social media. When you see people post, here's Instagram, here's reality. And
Scott Fowler.
Yeah. And, you see someone will put on stories. Here's my child perfectly like
Right.
dressed
We put
in
what we want you to see.
smiling, and then the next story slide is here's reality, and the kid's like falling out on the floor.
Got it.
It's the same thing. But I think, if you thrive off having a home that is peaceful and clutter-free, there's a sense of pressure.
Okay.
And especially for visitors that are coming from out of town that you haven't seen in a while.
Right.
That's a whole nother category.
But you're like that even with your mother-in-law. Like Matt will say, "Hey, my mom's coming over." What are you gonna say?
How does the house look?
Right.
So
But
if he calls me and I'm at work,
what if you're at home though?
push back the time.
Okay.
If because you can make time for just a quick tidy.
Okay.
I'm not talking about like
Like a
dusting the shutter.
Right.
I'm not talking about like putting the gloves on and getting down and dirty. I'm talking about just when someone enters the home, it's like, whew, okay, I'm glad to be here versus,
Right.
whew, I don't know if I shouldn't have texted. Maybe I don't want to be here. And I want that feeling for myself, and I want my guests to have the same feeling.
Got
Like
it.
I'm the person, if someone's coming to spend the night, I have like a little tray on their bed, and it has water and some candy, and I put their picture in a picture frame.
Get the heck out of here.
Yes, so that they feel welcome.
That is amazing.
Or like if my girlfriend's visiting and she's by herself, I'll put a picture of her 2 kids and her hut. Like
You are.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop you right there. You're in the perfect business. Don't you ever quit doing what you're doing. That line right there. Like if I go to your house and use your guest bathroom and see a picture of myself, I'm gonna be like, oh God, this is amazing.
I had friends do that one time in Florida. The first time I was at their home, I cried.
Wow.
see, because you felt at home, right?
Wow. Okay.
My husband thinks I'm insane. Like, and I'm like, no, it's all about the special touch.
The funny thing is hearing it from you, it sounds special, but if my wife told me that, I'd be like, girl, that's insane. So Matt, I hear you. Here's one final thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
Let's go the complete opposite way. Being an extreme minimalist. We know that there has been a phenomenon about tiny house living and kind of bringing everything down. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I think culturally, I don't think we're completely there.
Okay.
I think
Just because we like to overconsume.
Yeah, I still think just as Americans, we overconsume.
Okay.
There's still a ton of excess. I think we're starting to see more than we did in the past, like obviously with tiny home villages and, especially in big metro cities, or even here, we're popping up more smaller living spaces than ever.
Right.
Condos, apartments, smaller sized townhomes. So you have to get creative in the way that you're living.
Right.
The easiest way and the most appropriate way to do that is to reduce what you have in the house.
That's right.
Younger generations are coming up and they don't have necessarily the same type of attachment that our older generations do. So that's helping some. Minimalism is really most about looking at what you have, keeping what you absolutely need, and ditching the rest.
Got it.
And you can do that and still not call yourself
a minimalist.
Okay. But I think we would all agree that mindset of what do I have? Okay, what do I really need based on what I have, and get rid of the rest?
Okay.
It helps us all.
Right. I agree with you.
Regardless whether you say, oh, I'm a minimalist or I'm not a minimalist.
Right.
That practice alone, I think, can be applied regardless of how you classify yourself.
What your name is or what your title is.
But I think COVID has also taught us a lot, too, about, goods versus experience. Although a lot of people found themselves in this purchasing.
Right. And we're back from our YouTube commercial. Sponsored by Palmetto Moose, the Gatling Group. And, we have a sponsor, Scott. Colucci Custom Awards wants to sponsor our podcast. Yeah, so shout out to Colucci Custom Awards. So you were talking about during COVID. Finish your thought.
Yes. So on one side, COVID led to a lot of purchasing, boredom, again, going back to the ease of buying. But I think, on the flip side, it also renewed our sense of appreciation for experiences and travel and the things that we can do with friends and family to make memories.
Right.
And that's what we're going to hold on to.
That's right. We can't take none of this stuff with us anyway.
We can't take any of
Let's
it
be
with
honest.
us. And, you know, I think with that being said, that also falls in line with a minimalistic way of life. It's a focus on travel. People are working more remote still. They can have jobs anywhere, doing things and experiencing things that you wouldn't have otherwise done versus purchasing tangible items that you think you need, but you don't necessarily need. And they're either going to get trashed or donated at the end of the day.
And like you said, the purge is needed. You know, when you start to accrue so much stuff, I mean, I've seen it all the time. Usually people that have a very cluttered house, they have a cluttered car. They just have a cluttered life, a cluttered desk, a cluttered office, you know. And so I do agree with you. I even though some things may be emotionally hard to purge with. Matter of fact, this will be the last thing we talk about. I want you to tell me about that incident you were talking about with the bones. Like you had mentioned something about someone wanted to hold on to bones. What was that about?
Yeah, so we were working with a client to purge the garage or reorganize the garage.
Okay.
And we knew we had a ton of editing to do. We always have the clients.
You call it editing?
Editing.
Oh, that's what Scott Fowler does. Plug for Palm Edibles. All right, purge editing. Go ahead.
Yes, and we had a lot of stuff to remove from the garage, like multiple dump trucks worth.
Oh wow,
of
they had a lot of stuff.
That's a lot. That's a hearty purge. We are super proud of that client for doing that.
Okay.
But we came across this box, and it was a collection of like old animal carcass, bones, skeleton-like items. And I wasn't sure if it was a science project or
oh my God,
a Halloween decoration because we were storing
exactly.
you know, just, you know, you never know. So I'm like, you know, let's put this aside. This needs to go. So I made the judgment call to put it in
with
the
the
trash
stuff.
pile.
Okay.
That's right. And we did a walkthrough with the client, and she was like, "Oh no, no.
Don't get rid of my bones."
No, my dog actually retrieves these for me out of the woods.
Wow.
And we like have a collection for her. So we said, okay. First time, right? And so we take them, we box them up, we put a cute label on the front with the dog's name, you know, so-and-so supplies, and put them right there on the shelf. I don't think they've been used. I've been back to the house a few times.
Okay.
And the box hasn't moved. It doesn't look like the dog's been playing with the carcass bones.
Well, they're probably still in the box.
Yes, but they're there.
Wow.
And you can see them. It's in a clear container. But yeah, so you never know like why.
What they want.
So even the wildest things are so important.
Okay. Well, like I said, Meg, I appreciate you. You are my friend indeed. And I promise you, this is going to be my wife's favorite episode because that's the thing she loves to talk about most. Declutter your space. Declutter this because you'll have such a clear headspace. I hear Candace as I'm talking to you. So I appreciate you. Tell my viewers real quick how they can find you on Instagram, social media. What are your platforms?
Of course. Yeah. We're on Facebook and Instagram. So Neat Method Columbia on Facebook.
Okay.
On Instagram, it's Columbia Neat, N-E-A-T.
Okay.
And then if you're ever interested, you can send us a DM or go to neatmethod.com. We have an online inquiry form that routes straight to my inbox.
Got it. I'm so happy that you came aboard. So for the viewers out there, are you cluttered? Do you need to clear up your life? And the question we're going to ask the public is, can we come to your house? Like if I wanted to invite myself to your house right now, most of you would probably say no, because like Meg said, that's where the vulnerability kind of comes in. But at the same token, I learned something today. If it's too much and you haven't gotten a chance to really decipher what you needed or why you needed it, it may be time to declutter. Meg, thanks for being a part of our show today. That's Stephen Morris once again with An Honest Look. Make sure you guys subscribe to our channel. And if you have any comments on any of the topics that you want us to talk about, all you got to do is just write it below. And I promise you one of our producers will reach back out to you to make sure that we make it happen. Have a good one.